Hey Isaac, welcome to the HRSDC training manual. Basically what I'll be doing today is taking you through the entire HRSDC online application, showing you guys where to find the numbers that you need, how to calculate what you need, as well as putting the necessary information for you guys to have a successful and competitive application. So just to start off, first of all we'll go to the Canada Summer Jobs site. So just type in Canada Summer Jobs into Google and click the first link. You can read through this really quickly, especially the part about criteria, and just skip it, go to apply online. The online application is the easiest way to finish this application. Simple, and you just have to finish it by the 28th. Cool. So here's a disclaimer. You can just read it really quickly. For the purposes of this simulation, I'm going to skip it. Okay, so another disclaimer. This is actually quite important, so you can just skim through it. I'm going to skip all of it and go straight to the application. So click continue. For purposes of this application, I'm going to click British Columbia, as that's the location of my home LC, Isaac SFU. So continue. Privacy notice statement. Yes, I agree. Okay, so a lot of you have been asking about the CRA business number. And I would show you guys where you can find each individual local community's business number. So go to myisaac.net, log in, go to wikis, Canada Finance, right here. So first of all, go to the table of contents. You'll see a bunch of things here. What you want is Isaac Canada's local community's RP and RT accounts. So download the document right here, and I already actually have it downloaded. So we'll go and open that up real quick. And here you'll see all the RP and RT accounts for every local community in Isaac Canada, as well as the business number. You'll notice that the business number for every LC is the same. It's very important that you guys use the proper payroll deduction number so that your local community can actually pay payroll instead of having Isaac Canada do it, which is not a good thing. Okay, so the first 9 numbers, the same for everybody once again. So 12983 5872. So for purposes of Isaac SFU, we're going to go RP, which is the payroll deduction number. And for the specific account, we're on SFU, RP 0006. 0006. Okay, so the legal name of the employer, so in our case it's Isaac Simon Fraser University. Common name is Isaac SFU. So just type in a telephone number. Okay, so once that's all done, click continue. And we're going to close that now. So not-for-profit sector is our definition, so click that. Click local community charitable and voluntary organization. We do not have a union, so click now. Okay, so the employer contact person should always be the VPF or whoever you have handling payroll. So in that case, let's say it's going to be me. Just type in your contact information, and this is very important to have the right contact information because they'll be emailing you or phoning you with the results of the application as well as if they have any questions. Date where the organization is created. I can't remember SFUs off the top of my head, so we'll just use this as a random number. And with regards to activities, for the purpose of this application, I'm going to put International Student Exchange and youth leadership. And I'll be posting an example of like all these descriptions that Isaac Calgary filled out in 2011 as they had a successful application on the finance wiki, which I'll also post on a Facebook group. So just watch out for that. So the number of employees working in Canada. The only paid employees in Canada are the MC as well as Isaac Canada's bookkeeper. So that total is actually 8. So click 8 and just click continue. Language, in my case it's English. So click that. Mailing address of the employer, so that's wherever your university is if you don't have an office. If you have an office, just make sure to indicate that there is a location for that. So just filling that out. 5A, 1S6, and no. Okay, so, oh, excuse me. For this, it's not, for this, you would click related to cultural development or historical preservation. So, unclick, unapplicable. No, in this case, for a number of students requested, it's usually 1 or 2. So for this, for the purpose of this application, I'm going to click 2, and for number of jobs, 1, since they'll have the same title. So for the title, I'm going to put marketing director. Hourly wage rate, this should be the minimum wage of your province. So in BC, it's 10.25, so I'm going to click that. Number of weeks requested, I'm going to have the maximum, which is 16, and this is up to you. As long as it's between 6 and 16 weeks that are consecutive, go for it, choose whatever number you want between those. And for 30 and 40 hours a week, I'm going to put 40 hours a week. So both are maximums. So number of students requested for this to job title 2, anticipate start date. So the start date cannot be earlier than May 6th. So we're going to just put May 6th for the purposes of this application, but it can be whenever you decide or whenever you decide with your summer marketer, as long as you know the date before you fill out the application. And the hourly contribution requested from HRSDC, this is the maximum minimum wage, so 100% as we're a not-for-profit. So in my case, it's 10.25. Okay, so tasks and responsibilities. Like I said, I'll be posting Calgary's 2011 application, which has an example of this. But if you read through it, it's pretty straightforward. You should be filling this part out with your LCP or your VPCR, as they'll have the job title, and they'll be probably the ones managing the summer marketer in terms of sales training and whatnot. So I'm just going to type in whatever, click continue. Post-secondary in our case. Yes, it is career-related work experience. Field of studies, it asks for number of fields as well as how it relates to the job. So once again, the Calgary application will actually have all this. But for the purposes, I'm just going to write down business administration for now. Not applicable for this question. Mandatory employment-related costs. Now this is very important. So what MERCs are is that, well, I mean it says right here, but there's a lot of things that go into MERCs, and that's basically what taxes you'll be paying. If you don't fill out MERCs, what will happen is that if your LC doesn't sign a TN with summer marketers, you guys will be paying for a portion of taxes. So you can find a lot of these numbers online. So the numbers you'll want is the CPP, or Canadian Pension Plan percentage. So for this application, I'll be using 4.95%. You'll want your Workers' Compensation Board number, and this only applies to these provinces. So if you're in Quebec, you're good to go. So you don't have anything for Workers' Compensation Board. For the purposes of this application, I'm going to use 0.49%. And you want employment insurance, which is, for these purposes, I'll use 2.63%. And finally, vacation pay, which is 4%. So you want those 4 things: CPP, WC, EI, and VP, which is vacation pay. Cool. So by taking your total wage for both your employees, so in my case, that total wage was $13,120. So I'll bring up the calculator. So that was $13,120, and you'll be adding on, and you'll be multiplying that by each of the percentage rates that were given to you. So for CPP, it would be 4.95%. For WC, it would be 0.49%. In my case, etc. And like I said, you can find all these numbers within just the CRA website for your province. So CPP, EI, and CPP and EI will be the same Canada-wide, and workers' compensation as well as vacation pay will be different for each province. So I'll be just so by multiplying all those numbers, I got 649.44 for my CPP, 64.29 for my workers' compensation number, 345.11 for my EI, and 524.80 for my vacation pay. So the total is $1,583.64, which is the number I'll put here. Cool. So once again, CPP, WC, EI, and vacation pay. Okay. So here, once again, related to cultural development or historical preservation. And does this job support a local priority? Yes. As long as your address is your university, it will always support a local priority, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so local priority, if you ever want to find it out, go to the Canada Summer Jobs link there. So go through there, scroll down to local priorities, click that. In my case, I'll go to British Columbia, where SFU is, so Burnaby Douglas. And here you'll have not-for-profit and post-secondary education institutions. So I'll be clicking, you can use either or, but I'll use post-secondary institutions. Institutions. So continue. Excuse me. Okay, so here's the calculation, total contribution, hours, make sure that all these numbers are correct. In my case, they are. So I'm going to click continue. And just wait for it to load. Oh, whoops. Just refresh that. Okay, so once again, continue. Continue. Nope, we don't have any physical activities. This only applies to construction jobs for the most part. Continue. No in our case, so that's good. Nope, so continue. Yeah, so in this case, once again, if you're not in these following provinces, you're okay for this. But in our case, because we did use the workers' compensation rate within the calculation for our MERCs, then we'll just click yes. So no problem there. So workers' compensation account number. If you don't know what this is, and it should have been mailed to you, please contact your workers' compensation board immediately, because this is information that you need. Okay? Cool. So I'm just going to fill out basically random numbers here. Every LC will have something different. So ours was 0.49%, so we want a rate, so 0.049. And we can just have a random number here. So continue. Okay, so covered by liability insurance, yes, continue. Once again, if you're in any of these provinces, just don't worry about it. Just click yes automatically. And if you're not, you still click yes automatically. So insurer name, policy number, so all of that. Actually, let's go back. So we basically say no, because we have workers' liability. Sorry. So do you require an advance? No. Continue. Then we go here. Just click yes. Continue. Okay. And it basically gives you a summary of kind of what answers you want to have. Now what I recommend for you guys to do is for you guys to copy and paste this into a different document so that your successor has something to work off of for the next year, as well as some form of record keeping so that you kind of know what you did. So checking this over really carefully, everything looks good, and I go click Submit to Service Canada. So in my case I won't, because I'm not actually applying for this, as I'm not the VP of my LC anymore, but that's pretty much it. One thing to note is that 75% of the HRSDC will come in about September. So you need to make sure that you have enough cash flow to pay for your summer marketers before you actually hire them. And as you guys pay remittances, which we'll be doing a payroll video later in April, when you guys get notice whether or not you got your application, then we'll cover that in a bit more detail. Just so that you guys are aware, okay? Thanks guys for listening, and good luck!